I'm just looking at your face.
I know. All right, I think we're live. Let's see if this works on that page. Push the start button.
There it is.
Oh, it is. There you go. Hot dig. Okay. I'm going to change this. Just give it, for those of you who are live with us right now, just give us a second while we set everything up perfectly. And if you're watching live, let us know that you're here and you can hear us and all of that by saying something in the chat box. Typing something in the chat box.
Did we get it all right the first time?
I think we may have. Yeah, it's working. This is so exciting. We just got to wait for the lag. Because when we're talking, it takes like 20 seconds to get to everyone else. So hopefully people will start chatting in a moment. We'd love to hear who's here and maybe where you're from. How about that? That'd be fun.
Where are you from, Angela?
Well, I live in Portland. Is that exciting? This.
I'll test the chat box right now.
Oh, yeah, I was doing that as well.
Oh.
Oh, good. Some Tammy from Bellevue is saying that we look good, that we sound good. Perfect. Well, Tammy's here, so that's all we really need, right?
Tammy is from Blaine. It's very important that you get that distinction.
Very important. Right on the border, baby. That's where we used to go. No, I was thinking when I went to Western, we would go through Blaine to go to the nightclubs in Canada because you can go to a club when you're 19, but we didn't. We went around Blaine.
Oh, I went through Blaine when I was 19, when I lived in Anacortes.
Of course you did. We all did.
Very classy people we are.
Totally. I bet everyone from Blaine does the same. Is the drinking age in Canada still 19?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, those crazy Canadians. I tell you. All right. Well, we can stop talking about when you can drink legally in Canada and talk about something else. Okay. We've got two people here. I think we're good. If you experience any difficulties, for those of you who are watching, just put that in the chat box and then Melody and I can pretend like we know how to fix it. Oh, will you write in there, Melody, though, that if they can't see the video, it's because they're probably being filtered, that they need to adjust their internet filters? All right. Well, for those of you who are watching, who else would I be talking to? I'm Angela Davis from frugallivingnorthwest.com. I'm here with my project manager, or whatever we call Melody, who just makes things happen, who works with me on the website. And we are here to talk to you about this morning how to master your income, which should probably, it's not mastering your income, it's more like increasing your income. So we're going to talk about side hustles, working from home, how you can earn extra income with all of your extra time, right? But what I think what the beauty of Melody and me doing this is that we've both worked from home on the internet, doing things on the internet for a lot of years. I'm coming close to my 10-year anniversary of working from home, working on my blog, doing different things like that. So we both have some experience and expertise when it comes to this. So we are going to kind of how the workshop's going to go. We're going to cover a couple of topics. I'm going to share some resources with you that I think are really valuable. And then we're going to finish up with some ideas, some real concrete ideas that you can pursue if you're interested in doing a side hustle and starting to work from home, and kind of how you do that. So we have lots of different ideas of what you can do. And it's not just One of the ideas is probably most likely not going to be starting a blog and trying to make money off of it. Not because we don't want you to do that, but because it's hard work. And we got in when it was not as hard work. Isn't that the truth? So we've got tons and tons of ideas. So as we are going through, as I'm sharing things and Melody's sharing as well, please ask us questions in the box. So in the chat box, if you've watched our previous 2 workshops, it was a little bit more like I had content to share. I kind of went through my, my teaching, my script, and then you ask questions at the end. This is going to be more like conversational, where Melody and I are talking to each other, and then you guys are participating in the chat box. So if you have a question, have a suggestion, something like that, need some clarification over what we're talking about, please ask, especially if you're live, because we'd like to really be helpful to you as much as possible. So the first thing we're going to go through are kind of the do's and don'ts of working from home. So things that we have found to be really helpful and things that we found to be not helpful at all as we think about working, trying to earn money from like the location of being your home. So these are just general ones. The first thing that I want to strongly suggest you do, is to start thinking like a business owner. Or if you're going to be working for someone else from home, so that would be more of like a remote position, then think as like you're an employee. Sometimes I know that I started out, and I see a lot of people who want to work from home, but they view it as a hobby, as like, well, I can do this when I have time. I will guarantee that you will not be successful, meaning you're not going to make money if you view this as something that you can do if you have time. Because I promise you will never have enough time. You'll never go and go, man, I have a couple of hours right now. Maybe I should work. It doesn't work that way, does it, Melody?
Absolutely not. That's like negative.
Yes. You will always find something else that you would rather do than work, especially when you start getting into the grind of it. Another thing to do, make sure you do, is to have a plan for the money that you're going to make before you start making it. We're going to talk more about the setup in a few minutes, but really that kind of goes with thinking like a business owner. So it's not just babysitting money that you get like when you're 14 and you babysit for the neighbor, like, oh, sweet, what am I going to do with this money? But figure out what you're going to do with it before it comes to you. So that's thinking about strategic, like how are you going to have a bank account, but also any increase in income, what is your family going to do with it? I would strongly suggest or advise against just having it be your personal like play money. When that happens, the other adult in your home, for me, it would be my husband, would say, why are we sacrificing so much for you to work so that you can buy more clothes? So he needs to have some benefit for what you're doing as well. So that I would suggest, if you make $200 next month, what are you going to do with that $200 that is strategically going to help your family? We're going to use this to pay off debt. We're going to use my money to save for a vacation. Just something that you are both behind and excited about, because that's going to make everyone in the house more kind of okay with you and the time that you're spending at work. Make sure that you also, this is another do, that you have support and buy-in from your partner. So if you are married or you have a partner, make sure that they are interested in you doing this as well. So I'm going to tell a funny story. I have a friend from a long time ago who started working from home, and she was doing that during the day, and her husband got pretty irritated because he really liked having dinner ready when he came home from work, which is, I don't think that's like a, chauvinistic thing to ask for. Like, he liked having dinner when he came home from work. And then when she was doing this job, that wasn't happening anymore. And so he was irritated with that. Not necessarily that like, oh, the poor man didn't have his food when he came home from work, but like, oh, we didn't come to an agreement on how this was going to change our whole family's life. When Melody and I both started out blogging, there were tons of women who ran similar deal blogs. It like exploded. And they got to be successful. And I know they were all starting to make money and had a pretty good following. But interestingly, I don't know, Melly, if you remember this, I think it was like 2009, 2010, like about a year or so after I started noticing all these blogs started shutting down. And that's because their husbands in particular were like, well, this was fun for you to do, but now, like as a hobby, but now it's like all consuming and it's consuming our family. And that's not what he wanted. And then it turns out that's not what she wanted either. So they didn't really think through starting this business and the importance of everyone involved. I mean, I'm not talking about your kids, but like all the adults in the home going, yes, this is what we want to do. We want you to start working a little bit from home. Start minimally. I want you to, the do is to start small and then build into something bigger when you're forced to do it. So that would be like, if you're sitting thinking of, I would like to start a dog walking business, which by the way, I think you could make tons of money doing that. Let's say you wanted, like, I'm going to start I'm going to walk dogs for people and they're going to pay me for that. Starting small would be having an email address, having a phone that you can answer whenever someone calls, maybe starting a Facebook page if you wanted to, and then building when you're forced to do that. The wrong way to do it, in my opinion, would be to go all out, get a web page, hire a designer to make a beautiful website for you without having any clients to start with. So start small and then grow, add stuff to your business to make it more awesome when you're forced to do that. So if you're going to start being a virtual assistant for someone, don't go out and buy the biggest, most amazing computer that you think you might need. Start with what you have right now and then buy the next thing when you're forced to do it. Did I say that clearly, Melody?
Yes, you did. Yeah, it was perfect.
What? I wasn't sure you were talking to me. I do think that you should buy your domain if you've decided that you do want to start a business and you're serious with it. That cost is about $12. So do get your domain. You don't have to do anything with it. You can just go to GoDaddy.com. There's lots of different domain services out there and just purchase your domain and sit on it. You don't have to do anything, but just you're basically reserving it, saying, if I do become something, if this business becomes something that I do want to have a website for, you have the domain in your pocket. Some don'ts. This is a big one for me. Don't view working from home as a simple nap time endeavor. So many women, especially if they're stay-at-home moms, that's their primary job. They're like, well, I can start this business and I'll just do it while my kids nap. It doesn't work. Okay. Because I want you to imagine right now the things that you do while your kids are napping or like during downtime during the day. Well, when my kids were napping at home, I was cleaning, I was taking a shower, I was getting dinner ready, all the different things. When are you going to do those things if you're working during nap time? So be really realistic with what you can accomplish in your time. Also, if you want to be like a contractor, we're going to talk about the different types of positions you can hold working from home in a little bit. But if you decide like, I want to work for someone else, I want to provide services in my area of expertise to other small business owners. I do remember as a small business owner being really annoyed with people who were working for me as a contractor, like, oh, you're going to do graphic design for me. And they were really only available to communicate, to work like 90 minutes every afternoon. So just understand that if this is going to be something that you want to do just for a very small period of time every day, the pool of people that might hire you is going to be smaller than if you were a little bit more available. So one of the do's of working from home is to have an idea in your head of when you get busy, when you become like you get more clients or you start working more, how is your home life going to have to change? So an example of that for me is that I have a babysitter. I have my daughter. Actually, I've had a babysitter for almost it's been over 4 years because I have one kid at home still. And that's when I had 2 or 3 kids who were not in school all day. She came and she babysat while I worked. So like if if you are the person that says, I will never hire a babysitter, and you still want to work at home, it's going to be really tough. Is that true, Melody? Did you find the same thing?
Yeah. So I was a nap time worker. I started my blog when I was pregnant with my second son. So I had a 1-year-old and was pregnant. And
that's like the perfect time to start a business.
Right. Well, in 2009, yes.
Yeah.
I did work during nap time, but I turned into a rage machine when my kids would not nap as long as I thought they were going to, or I expected this amount of time and I didn't get it. And I was working in the morning and the evenings too, to make sure that I was getting everything done.
Oh, did something happen with you or me?
You froze.
You froze.
Oh dear.
I think we're back. I hear myself.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know who it was. That's funny. I think all the things that you were saying were amazing, though.
I'm sure they were.
Here's the funny part is that my internet, it may have been me. Because when people microwave, my internet shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm texting my husband to say, do not microwave.
This is another perk for working at home, right?
I know. Like, here's your don't, or here's your do. Make sure you have good internet if you are working remotely. Hold on. That's funny.
Did he microwave?
I don't know. I'm outside. Don't microwave. There we go. Oh, I hope. Well, you put in the chat box right now, like if we stopped working, refresh the page because maybe there was microwaving going on. All right. Well, let's keep going. Another don't spend a lot of money to start this. I've kind of already touched on that, but don't gear up. Don't spend a bunch of money on new equipment, on totally upgrading your internet until you have to get there. We don't want you spending a lot of money to start making money. So only spend money when you have made some. And another do would be take the money that you've made for the first couple of months or so and just keep that in your bank account. Don't pay yourself because you're going to have some expenses if you start becoming awesome and getting more clients or customers. And you're going to want that money so that you can upgrade things. So don't assume that you're going to start off if you're working for yourself and just be able to start spending the money immediately. Oh, my husband just said I'm on my way to Salem. So apparently my 4 children are by themselves in the house. This could get interesting. All right. And the other thing is that there's so many free resources out there on the internet that help you run your business. So like I don't have any Microsoft products on my computer. Like I use Google Drive. Melanie and I we share documents back and forth together. All of our stuff is on Google Drive. Right now I'm running this workshop for free. We're using YouTube Live. It's actually Google Hangouts. So you don't have to buy super expensive stuff. There's lots of free things out there that will help you. Oh, your chat box is gone?
It was too good to be true.
No, it's there. Refresh.
I did.
It's there for me.
All right. Well,
oh my goodness, you guys, this is too good. And you see, here's the hilarious thing. Here's your free stuff. No, but even stuff that you pay for, you have problems with. Believe me, I paid for webinar equipment and it doesn't always work the way you want it to. All right. And don't underestimate the time that is required in order to be a successful business owner or a successful employee. So again, like I often think, I can, especially at the beginning, like, that won't take me very much time. And it always does. So as you're thinking about getting into this endeavor and you go, let's say to your partner, to your husband and say, I have this great idea for a business. It's only going to take me like an hour a day. You should like really say it's going to take 2 or 3 hours a day. Be realistic, right? Okay.
hang on. I have something to add to that. So I think when I started my blog a million years ago, I really had no goal or no plan for it, which was fine. I wasn't intending on making money. It was more just a fun side hobby. But if you have a business idea, go into this with a business plan because I think that will help get your spouse or significant other on board that this isn't just like, I'm going to try this. It'll be fun. We'll see how it goes. If you have I mean, even talk through it with them. If you have goals, if you have a plan, it's going to help them get on board with you and help see the time spent as beneficial.
And what do you mean by like a business plan? Because that sounds like I should have gone to business school to write that.
No, you're right. You're right. I guess I more mean like where I would like this to go. So if I'm making these products, who would I like to sell them to? Or do I have any ideas for craft shows that I'm going to go to? Or am I going to sell on Etsy? Or, maybe put a little bit of research time into it first before I'm going to spend 3 hours a day doing this. And, our kids will watch movies. So
yeah. And a big don't for me as we move to the next kind of topic is don't go into debt over this. If you're in a position where you need to work because your family is desperate for extra money, starting your own business is not the place I want you to start at. The economy is so good right now in 2018. Go get a part-time job. Figure out how you're going to, structure your family time so that you're not spending all of your money on childcare. But if your husband works a regular 9-to-5 job, you can go work for 3 or 4 hours at night and you can easily find that job and you get money immediately. Please do not go into debt to fix an income problem in your household's budget. It will not work. It's going to just make it worse. I don't think you should go into debt, period, for anything. So if you want to start your own business and your family's not in financial chaos, I want you to have the cash to do it. And if you don't have the cash to do it, then you don't get to do it. That would be my coaching suggestion to you. I built this entire business, Frugal Living Northwest, and all the things that we're cooking, because we're cooking some fun stuff that are going to happen later this year. I've done all of that with cash, all of it. And it's all cash that I've earned from this business. So be strategic in that way. Let's go to setup. And we haven't really talked about different ideas yet, but the like what you can do. But I think that everything that Melody and I are talking about, setting up your business well, or if you're going to be a freelancer, if you're even going to work for someone else and you're going to try to pursue finding a job that you can do from home, working from someone else, these are going to be things that will be helpful. The first thing is to get an email address, and I will not take you seriously if you have anything other than a Gmail account. Do not email me from Hotmail or Yahoo or AOL, because I'll be like, this girl does not know, or boy. Sorry, I figure we're talking to women. I'm going to figure that you don't know what you're doing. So you need to email me. If like you're coming to me saying, don't come to me, I already have a graphic designer, but like, I'd like to, like, do you need graphic design work? And if I see that you have an email address from Yahoo, I'll be like, you don't know what you're doing. Okay. So get a Gmail address. Don't make your name cutesy. Don't tell me whose mom you are. Okay. I want you to use your name. It's fine if your name's like Angela Davis 17524. That's fine. Or the name of your business. You don't have to have your own domain email. Like my domain email right now is angela@frugalliving.nw.com. You don't have to do that. That costs money. I will take you seriously if you have a Gmail account that's not cute. So don't have it like, Braden's mommy. Just get a new Gmail account that's just for your business. I will take you seriously then. If you are planning to work from home and you're serious about that, like you want to provide virtual assistant services, you want to work for someone else and you have to be on the internet a lot, you may have to upgrade your internet, but don't do that until later. But just know that if I'm going to interview you, and we're going to interview by Zoom or Google Hangout or Skype, if you can't get the internet connection correct and you can't figure out how to get yourself set up and your internet goes out like mine just did, I'm not going to take you seriously. I'm going to say, well, her internet doesn't work well enough to work. That's going to be a problem. So if you're going to do an interview with someone or like a consult call or something, practice doing Skype with one of your friends who, from their house, and make sure that it works well. Make sure you have a good profile picture. That would be your personal profile picture on Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, the little profile picture that you can have in Gmail. It does not have to be professional, but I don't want to see a picture. This is going to sound really snotty, you guys, but I don't want to see a picture of you and your kids. I don't want to see a picture of you in a bikini on the beaches of Maui. I want to see a picture of you looking fairly good. It doesn't have to look fancy. You don't have to be in a blazer. But just take like a good picture. And I don't want to see someone else in the picture. I don't want to see it cropped. Just ask your husband, say, here's my phone. Take a picture of me on a day that you have makeup on and like an okay shirt. That's probably going to be offensive to some of you, but like, seriously, don't send me a picture with you and your dog. Okay. Set up a business banking account. Just one of the free ones that your money that you earn is going to go into it, and then income is going to go out of it. Don't do this through your family account. Don't do this through a personal account. You will regret it. So set it up correctly from the beginning. I do all of my accounting in Google Spreadsheets, so that's free with Google Drive. I don't have QuickBooks. I don't have a bookkeeper, and I have a good amount of income coming in and out of my business and a lot of expenses. I do everything through Google Spreadsheets. That's a perfectly okay place to start. If you have Excel, you can use that, but don't go buy Excel. Google gives it to you for free. I have my entire business lives in a couple of hanging file folders in our cabinet in our home office. You do not need an elaborate setup. You don't need a desk. Just maybe down the road, you'll want to have like a little office or something. But I mean, I didn't have my own office until a year ago. I worked the first 8 years of my business at a dining room table, at a little folding table in my bedroom. And that was like after I was making a lot of money is when I started the folding table in my bedroom, like where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to work around the kids anymore. So I just want to say that to encourage you that you don't need an elaborate setup. You can do this with a laptop on your dining room table. Be available. And what I don't mean that you're available at all times for a phone call from clients or from your boss, but be available by email. And so for me, that means that I do have email on my phone so that I can answer emails. And by the way, I'm the worst at answering emails. But if I were working for someone, I would want to be able to answer their emails quickly. And it's fine if you even say like, if you reply with, thank you so much for your email. I'm going to get back to you during my office hours tomorrow. If I got that response, if I was like trying to see if someone could work for me, if I got that response, I'd be like, oh, awesome. Thank you for getting back to me. And now I know when you're going to be able to respond to my specific question. Vanessa said, why not Hotmail? Because Hotmail says to me, I mean, Melody, like maybe I'm just being too snotty, but it says to me that you're not really taking yourself seriously. And because Gmail says I'm a professional, I have a professional email account. Also Hotmail, when I send emails through my email service provider to people, the only people who have problem getting those emails are people on Hotmail, Yahoo, and AOL. They have really weird spam filters. We always have problems with deliverability from Hotmail, Yahoo, and AOL. So if you have Gmail, I know that you're going to get the email that I sent you. So I don't want to have to like call you and say, did you get my email with whatever like working relationship you're with me? You're like, oh, it sent it to spam. It's because you're on Hotmail. Am I wrong, Melody?
No, I'm not even entirely sure why I feel that way too, but my Hotmail address was in college. It was my personal one and it was some really cutesy name. So it was just something I had for fun. But when I started my business, I got on Gmail. There's a lot of features that Gmail has.
That's
folders. Yeah, you can filter just about anything. You can organize things. It's just the threads are easier to follow. So for me, it just feels more professional.
And yeah, they have so many features inside Gmail that make running your business so much easier. Also, you just click the little button and you get into your Google Docs area with Google Drive. Everything is so well integrated. Also, if I want to share a file with you and you're on Hotmail, I'm like, well, what's your Gmail account? Because I can't it just makes everything so much easier. Melody and I, when we're doing this live together, I just put in her Gmail address, her Google account, and then she was able to pop up into this. So I would say like so many things are integrated with Google and Gmail. It's just smart to be there and start there from the very beginning. You can keep Hotmail for your personal account. That's totally fine. But what I wonder when I see someone with a Hotmail, Yahoo, or AOL, when I'm emailing them, I'm like, is this their spam account? Because, we give these fake accounts so that people send offers there and they don't go into our personal account. Like, is this going to actually get to the person? The general public has much more. The business public has more confidence in what Gmail can do for you. And then I know when I'm emailing someone with Gmail, I know they're going to get that email. So hopefully that helps, Vanessa. And I don't want to I know there's lots of people who use these other service providers for their personal stuff. With your business, go with Gmail. Use a calendar to set up everything. So I think Google Calendar is that what it's called? Google Calendar?
Yeah.
Works super well. You can have multiple people working on a different calendar or on the same calendar at once. Melody and I use our a shared Google Calendar to work on projects. I mean, it would help if I looked at it, but I know that she's using it. Also, you can use a paper calendar. That's fine, but it's really helpful to have. I find it helpful to have my calendar on my phone. It makes me look pretty professional. And so if you meet someone at a park and they're like, so what do? You start talking about what you do. And you're like, oh, I'm a personal chef. So I go to people's houses and I make, 3 dinners for them every week and stick them in the freezer. And so that they can just pull it out and make dinner easily. By the way, I would love that service for someone to do that for me. And then maybe that woman goes, oh, that sounds so good. Can you do that for me? Can we can we chat? Like, can you do that? And you're like, oh yeah, let's set up a time right now that we can hop on a call. That's what people say, hop on a call and, schedule that out. And so you pull up your calendar right there. So you don't have to say, well, let me call you later. And we can schedule that. And then you can see easily what things your family has going on. So my husband and I are on the same calendar as well. So I can see what he's doing, what I'm doing, what Melody's doing. And then I can schedule with confidence. So I don't have to go back. So you don't have to go back to that person and say like, oh, it turns out my kid has a t-ball game. Yeah, Google Calendar is a good thing. The calendar's called Outlook. The Outlook is Microsoft's calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm actually responding right now. They're 2 separate things. My husband uses Outlook for work, and we can sync our calendars, but it's a lot more work.
I would say that from what I understand, and I could be wrong, Outlook is used kind of like in the corporate world, but Google stuff is used in the online world. I don't know any online people who work online in the online world, their whole job is on the internet, who's using Outlook. We're all using Google products. Would you say that's true?
As far as, people in our domain, at least, that's what I see. Most everybody is using Google.
Yes. And then also the last thing on setup, if you want to work online, if you're providing VA services, anything that you want to do online, either working for yourself or someone else, a tablet is probably not going to cut it. You do have to have some sort of a desktop computer. That could be an actual desktop. It could be a laptop. It can be a Chromebook. Now, I want you to don't get off this call or out of this workshop and run to your husband and say, they told me I need to go buy a laptop. Let's go to Costco. That is not what I'm saying. But if you want to be serious about earning money from home and working online and you only have a tablet, that's how you do life, it's not going to be good enough. There's so many limitations when it comes to a professional environment with a tablet that you're not going to be able, it won't cut it. I do know that most people's lives who are not making money on the internet can use their phone or their tablet, and that's fine. But you are going to have some sort of a laptop. I couldn't imagine I wouldn't be able to do 75% of my business if I only had a tablet. Anything, Melody?
I 100% agree with you. I worked only from a laptop in the beginning and it was fine. It worked okay, but I'm at the point now where I have multiple tabs open all the time and I'm jumping back and forth. So now I have my laptop, but I have it set up to a docking station. So essentially it's like a desktop computer, and it's hard for me to go back to just my laptop even.
Oh,
but
really?
I've tried to do things on a tablet, and I just want to take a nap. So
yeah, I need a mouse because it makes you move so much faster. But again, I understand if if you're just a typical person who uses the internet for their just for their own life enhancement, then a tablet or your phone is fine. But there was one girl that I knew who was mine and Melody's friend runs a Pinterest management service. So they run Pinterest accounts for clients. And she was trying to manage a Pinterest account on a tablet. And my friend Kate was like, that's not going to work. You have to have a laptop in order to do this job. Okay. I wanted to show, let me see what I actually want to do. Here's some cautions. Let's jump to cautions really fast as we're talking about working from home. My biggest caution, and I think that Melody agrees, is to be very wary of the promises that multi-level marketers and marketing companies make when it comes to making money from home. So a lot of people are like, I want to make money from home. I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to do direct sales. So that is, I'm going to be like a salesperson basically for another company selling their products, but it's actually me owning my own business. So that'd be selling Avon, Mary Kay, Pampered Chef, LuLaRoe, essential oils, Stella and Dot. Can we go through this over and over and over and over? And do you have any other ideas? I mean, there's tons of them out there, right?
There's a bunch of skincare ones that I wrote down in Fields. I can't remember if you said that actually.
Yes. I mean, anything you can imagine someone is selling. And there are people who make a lot of money doing those. Absolutely. Here's my caution for you is the people who are wildly successful at those almost always are natural salespeople. They are people that can sell ice to Eskimos. I have a friend, actually Melody does as well. Her name's Amber. That girl could sell anything to anyone. She's not a scammer. She's not a hustler and she's not slimy, but she came out of the womb able to sell anything. And she does. She's wildly successful at anything she tries when it comes to selling things. So people who are wildly successful in an MLM or a direct sales business would be wildly successful selling anything at all. They could go sell you a car. They could sell you insurance. They could sell you anything. Wherever they go, they will make a crap ton of money. Most of us are not salespeople. A lot of us are not salespeople, but we get enchanted. We're drawn to the amount of money and the sales pitch that it's really easy to do that. Well, it's really easy if you're confident in your ability to sell. You're not worried about, like, how to finesse a conversation so that the other person you're talking to doesn't feel like they're being sold to. I can't do that. I'm really good at selling online because I'm good with words. I'm good on video, but person to person, I'm horrible at it. I'm very uncomfortable. I want to talk them out of the sale because I'm like, I don't think you really need this. I'm bad when it comes to, there we go, multi-level marketing and direct sales. And I would say that most of us getting into it are not going to be super successful because we're not built that way. If you're going to get into it, getting in on the ground floor is really one of the keys to making a ton of money. So like, I would never become an Avon salesperson. Like, the hurdle that you have to go to, or really like a lot of makeup, Mary Kay, those types of things, the hurdle that you have to go over to convince someone to buy from you is so big. Because as a regular person, you're trying to sell me, I'm trying to tell me why I should buy this makeup. I'd be like, I can just go to the store and buy the makeup I want. I don't have to talk to anyone. I don't have to go to a party. I don't have to order it and wait for it. Those are tons of hurdles that you have to go over. So I want you to think very realistically about, how am I going to convince someone to buy from me as opposed to going to the store and getting it, a week faster than.
Or buying it from somebody that they already know. I mean, a lot of times you have the same friend circles as somebody who's selling, you sign up under a friend, and that's really tough.
It really is. And you can't depend. And I know it's easier now with Facebook because we can just kind of throw the stuff out there. But I would say like people are tired, have grown weary of that. And so that's another big hurdle to convince someone that actually, like, to just convince them to even listen to you is really hard. So I think that, and there's always an upfront cost with an MLM or direct sales. And maybe it might be $99. And if you want to give it a shot, go for it. But I don't think it's a smart investment, especially if you are in desperate need of money. I would, if you're really like, I'm doing an MLM, I really don't want you to, but focus on consumables, things that people are going to use and then have to buy more of. So I don't know if there's an example of something that's not a consumable out there, but I want to sell you something that you are going to need to purchase every single month. So like I buy Spark from Advocare. I'm addicted to it. I'm going to buy it forever and ever. That's something good to sell because I need that. I need several containers every single month. So I'm going to continue to buy that. Don't try to sell me Advocare. I already have my person. Okay. But like if you're trying to sell a weight loss system, that is kind of a one and done. That's going to be hard because you're going to have to hustle for new customers each time. I want you to look at the percentage of money that you're going to make. So I would want you to be making at least 40% of that sale with every sale. But here's another thing I want you to think about is that when you're selling, you are the middleman. Generally, there's the products that you're selling are very expensive. And the reason for that is not because they're so amazing. It's because the company has to make money and you have to make money. So if you're looking at like selling clothing, the company is going to try to get 100% markup and you're getting 100% markup, which then is passed on to the consumer. So the consumer is purchasing a product that's usually twice as much as that they would be able to get into a store. And I know that it's so much better than anything you could get in the store. But for a lot of things, it really isn't. So just think about the markup and if your audience, if your ideal customer is going to be willing and able to pay twice as much for that than they would be able to in the store. Did I explain that well, Melody?
Yeah, you did. And a lot of times when I've bought through a direct sales company, it's to support a friend, which is not sustainable for me. And I end up going a different route with the next purchase. I do have a friend she's actually a really successful hairstylist and she sells Mary Kay as part of her business, but I wouldn't necessarily, that's not going to be it's not a side hustle for her. It's just something like, I love this. It's a natural fit for my business. She's already making money. She's already established. So if it can fit into something you're already doing, then I'm not opposed to that. But yeah, a lot of times the markup on those things is just out of control.
Yeah, like if you have a way to market the product to someone other than your friend circle, then it's sustainable because, like if you own a salon or I don't know what another example would be. You own a cleaning business. And so you're going to sell, what is that called? A cleaning product.
Oh gosh. There's like at home or home something.
What is it?
There's Norwex too.
I think that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like that would make sense. You're selling things to people that you already come into contact with that aren't your friends, but you are going to run out of friends eventually to try to sell to. So that would be cautions that we have as you're looking at multi-level marketing. But what I will say as an encouragement to you is like probably 10 or 15, 20 years ago, MLMs and direct sales companies. Oh, and here's another thing I want you to be cautious of is not to get into a business that makes you carry inventory because you need the space for inventory and you need the capital, which means cash for inventory. I would rather you sell something that you're basically just handing an order form to someone because there's so much less risk for you in that. And then you're not stuck with inventory when you want to quit. Now, again, going back to my other topic that I interrupted myself on, I'd say 10, 20 years ago, working from home was very much limited to MLMs and direct sales companies where you're like, that's really the only thing out there. 2018, you guys, you don't have to do that. You don't have to buy your own business. You don't have to franchise something in order to make good money from home, because the internet has opened up so much possibilities. And it's open possibilities for you to provide services to people, like to work and own your own business, but also the internet has provided an opportunity for you to serve people like me and like Melody in helping us with our business and also helping us manage our homes. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I want to give you tons of encouragement that the market is wide open for creativity on this one. And I have so many ideas on how you can make money. But there's this really awesome resource that is available right now. Let me get to it for you guys. Oh, no, I don't want to do that quite yet. I see I'm learning how to click buttons correctly. Go. Window. Hold on. We're getting there. Present. Okay. There's this thing that was just released 2 days ago. It launched 2 days ago. It's called the Ultimate Homemaking Bundle. This is only available until Monday. And you're thinking, why is she talking to me about homemaking? Hold on, just like stick with me. This is amazing. So this is a bundle of products, ebooks. There's 62 ebooks, 30 e-courses, videos, and audio files, 34 packs of printables and workbooks, and 3 membership sites. There's also 441 recipes in there. All of these things have been shoved into a thing called the Ultimate Homemaking Bundle. All of these items are curated to give you an incredibly helpful collection of resources to help you in really every area of you managing your home, managing your finances, all that kind of stuff. Here's the cool thing is that there are hundreds of things inside this bundle. So when you purchase the bundle, you get all of this stuff. And I'm super overwhelmed when I see pictures like this, like, oh, there's so much stuff in there. So 62 ebooks, 34 printables, 33 e-courses, and there's a bunch of bonuses as well. Here's the thing though, is that inside this Ultimate Homemaking Bundle, ironically, there are tons of work from home resources. And there are, just in this picture, 10 different courses, ebooks, and resources that will help you as you're thinking about what type of business you want to start, what type of services you'd like to provide for people, and the different, I would say, like areas of expertise or like skills that you can beef up on so that you can monetize that skill that you have. All of this is inside the homemaking bundle. So the bundle is not just about homemaking stuff like cooking and cleaning and managing and organizing, but there's this huge section on working from home. And so I picked out just 10 things that I thought were amazing that I think would be helpful to all of you as you're considering working from home, earning money from home, working for other people, that type of thing. So just the 10 things that you're looking at right here, the value of it is over $1,300. And that's because there are some courses in here that have a regular price of between like $150 and $300. So if you were to buy each thing individually, it'd be like $150 or $300. One product in there that's $238 is it's called Building Your Business. It's a comprehensive course that takes you step by step through building, launching, and growing a profitable business. So that's going to work for really any idea that you have. There's an ebook in there called Jumpstart Your Virtual Assistant Career. So if you're interested in being a virtual assistant, which by the way, there's so many online entrepreneurs and online marketers and people who own their own business online that are desperate for virtual assistants, people who will help them run their business. That's in there. There is a course in there called Social Side Hustle, 21 Days to Becoming a Social Media Manager. So this is going to teach you how to work from home part-time or full-time as a social media manager. And what that means is that you could become like, I'm a Facebook account manager specialist. So you would manage Facebook accounts or Facebook pages and businesses for other people. You could run your own Pinterest services Pinterest management services, or maybe you want to be an Instagram expert. That's going to teach you how to do that. And then one other one I wanted to emphasize is an ebook called Your Life Made Easy, The Ultimate Parent's Guide to an Organized Work Week. So as you think about you wanting to start to work at home, how are you going to organize your home and manage it so that you can be successful? So the whole value of just the 10 things that I showed here are over $1,300, but you pay $30 to get everything. So all of the stuff that's in the bundle is included for $30. And so Melody's going to give us the link to that in the chat box so you can check that out. But I wanted to show that to you as a resource as we are talking about working from home and how like that can really get you going, honestly. So, and I will be emailing you over the next couple of days, more resources inside there so you can check that out. The next thing that we want to talk about for the workshop are options for you. Let me find my piece of paper. Options. So this is when you get to ask us questions. We're going to start with like some ideas that we have on how you can work from home, earn money from your work at home. And then I want you, as we're talking, to start putting in the chat box right now things that you're good at. Because what I want you to think about as you're figuring out what you could possibly do is I want you to figure out what you know how to do. And I want you to think really like big picture. What are things that you're really good at and you love to do? So I wrote some things down, like maybe you love to cook, you love to bake, you love animals, you love pets. You enjoy cleaning, you enjoy organizing, you enjoy reading. There's things that you can, like, if you're a good reader, you can monetize that. You love planning trips. And these are things that like you just personally enjoy doing. You love to camp. You used to be a teacher, or you're a part-time teacher, or you love to teach people how to do things. You're a good writer. You enjoy writing. We can think of tons of things you can do with that. So in the chat box right now, I want you to tell me the things that you're good at and that you're like, I wonder if I could monetize that. What that means is I wonder if I could earn money with this skill. So you identify what you're good at and what you love doing, and then you figure out how you can become an expert at that. So if you're like, I love planning trips to Disney, I love that. I want you to figure out how you could become an expert at planning Disney trips. Because what I know is you can monetize that. I paid someone to plan a Disney trip for me, and that was not booking hotels. That was not booking my airfare. That was her telling me what we should do while we were at Disneyland. She sent me a schedule in the morning on Wednesday. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go to this ride, get a fast pass. She organized all of that for me, and I paid her to do it. Also, so that like, that's an example of like, it could be something as crazy as like, I love to knit. Let's figure out how you could monetize that. And then, so becoming an expert would be like, how can I be the very best expert at this topic? And then you go and you identify a market. So you go and see, are other people doing this thing that I'm good at? And how are they making money off of it? I don't want you to be discouraged if you decide, I want to make custom cupcakes. And you do research on the internet to see if other people are doing that. And you're like, oh, there's a woman in my same town who makes custom cupcakes. I don't want you to be discouraged by that, because that indicates her doing it says there's a market for it, because otherwise no one would be doing it. So I want you to know that competition oftentimes indicates that there are people willing to pay for it. Melody, what do you have to say with that?
Well, what I wanted to say is if you don't necessarily know what your passion is or what you're good at, when I started, because let me give you a little background into what I do for Angela. I run essentially her social media. I do a lot of calendaring. I schedule posts. I do some research. But I never, ever, ever 9 years ago would have thought that those were the things that I would be good at. So I started my own blog, which is kind of where this came from. But I just started. I did something, and that morphed into a lot of other things. Angela's introduced me to a few other people that needed some help. Never, ever, ever would have thought that I was going to be a social media manager for people. But something I've proven to be good at. So if you don't know what your passion is right now, that's not necessarily, it's not the end all for you. But just find something you want to try, and it might morph into something else.
And then the other thing, as you're thinking about how to get started, what you should do, I want you to think about how you want to do this. So how do you want to work? There's 3 ways that you can earn money from home. Number 1, you can be someone's employee. There are tons of companies out there who are looking to hire people to work from their own, to work remotely, and work for them. So you could be working for a small business owner. You could be working for a corporation. You could be working for a contracting company. So that would be like you log your hours. They send you a paycheck every 2 weeks or every month. The second way that you can work is by being a freelancer or a contractor. So a freelancer or a contractor is you do projects for people and they pay you based on that project, but you're not their employee. So that means you are you're paying your own taxes. So you're running your own business, but it feels like you're working for someone else. Melody is a contractor. She is not my employee, but she does projects that I pay her per project. And then she reports to me, but she's running her own business. So she's doing her own taxes. She's doing all of that on her own. The advantage to me is that I'm not locked into a certain amount of hours with an employee. I don't have to deal with their payroll or anything like that. The advantage to Melody is she can work for other people as well. So I can't tell her, you can't work for my friend who is also a blogger doing social media management. She can do whatever she wants as long as she is doing the work for me that I've asked her to do. So then that's the employee. You can be a contractor or a freelancer. Like that's kind of the same thing. And the third thing is you can own your own business outright. So that's what I do, is that I own my own business. I have contractors. If I wanted to, I could have employees. I'm in complete control of what I'm doing. And I'm going out and getting clients and customers and making money. So those are 3 things. And honestly, the easiest thing is to become an employee. Just like figure out how to be an expert at a certain thing and go get a job. Also, being a freelancer or a contractor is fairly easy as long as you are truly an expert at something or a kind of a bucket of things. And then but the problem is you have to go find clients, people that you're going to work for, and then to manage that relationship. Do you have anything?
No, one of the suggestions I was going to make is, again, if you don't know exactly what it is that you want to do, let your friends and family know that you're looking. I have a friend that she works part-time for the school district, but she was looking for something she could do from home. And I am on Facebook all day long because I work there. So I saw some job opportunities that came up. And if she had not told me that she was looking, I would never have known to send them to her. Yeah. And she would never have known to look at these companies that were looking for, social media help or customer service help. So just putting it out there will hopefully bring some opportunities to you that might not have come otherwise.
Yes. And so I want you to think, first of all, as you're thinking of ideas and you're dropping some questions in the chat box, we'll get to that in just a second, is what can you do from home to like virtual assistant type of things, being a graphic designer. And that doesn't mean that you have to have a graphic design degree. No one's looking for degrees. Oh, here we go. Here comes the 5-year-old. Hey, Luce. You want to hang out with me? Okay. And there's the other downfall of working from home with your kids. They're going to show up during a workshop. It's fine. You can do those types of things, but I also think creatively about what you can do to serve women who work from home or who work full-time or something like that. So I want to give you some examples that might be exciting to you. So I work part-time from home. My husband works more than full-time. We have 5 kids. Here are the different things that we pay people for. Lucy, you can't bounce on that, sweetie. We have a babysitter that comes and babysits for us. My babysitter folds my laundry. I pay her to fold laundry. I would pay someone, if my babysitter was like, or if I didn't have her, I would be willing to pay someone to come into my home and fold my laundry. I pay someone to make food for us sometimes. It's also my babysitter. She's kind of a jack of all trades. But I have my best friend is desperate for someone to come in and make food for them. Not every single day, but like make freezer meals and stick them in the freezer and tell her when to eat them. I have someone come and clean my house. I'm going to end up sounding really lazy here pretty soon. We have someone who takes care of our yard. I know of a woman who was working full time, actually from home, but she is wildly successful. She paid someone to be her daughter's driver, which sounds so stuck up and like, oh, I couldn't even imagine that. But she realized, like, when you have middle schoolers and high schoolers, they have to go to tons of different stuff. She paid someone to spend their afternoons driving her daughter places, after school. So it's not just like, I want to go to my friend's house, but it's like, I need to go to, I need you to drive, someone needs to drive me to volleyball practice. We kind of pay someone to drive my daughter to volleyball practice on Monday nights because we can't do it. So I want you to also think about how you can serve people whose families, both adults, work full or part-time. We are looking to hire things out because we are the generation who is not interested in doing everything ourselves. The Gen X and millennials, we are not interested in impressing people like baby boomers did with, look, I can work full time and I can take care of my kids and I can show up to everything. And then those women are completely beat, like they can't function anymore. I'm not interested in that. I'm happy to outsource tons of different things. So, Melody, are there things that you and your husband basically outsource to make you being able to work?
Yeah. And, it took a long time for us to actually make those decisions. And I think to your point in the beginning of the webinar, it took me a while to say that I had a business versus just a hobby or bringing in a little bit of money on the side.
Yeah.
So when I took on an extra project, this was probably about 6 months ago, I told my husband, I said, I cannot do it unless we hire a housekeeper. And so I had to look at the return of investment for me and what my time was worth. And if I could work the hour and a half it takes her to clean my house, I would make significantly more money than I was paying her.
Yeah.
So that was worth it. It was worth it for my stress level. I also, one of the notes I wrote down was to pay attention to the seasons, because if you start a business or you start doing something in October, summer comes. And then if you have school age kids, now they're home. So to think about childcare last summer we played around with a mother's helper. She couldn't drive, so I did have to go pick her up. She lived pretty close and she would just hang out with my kids for like 3 hours at home. She'd make them lunch. And it was a huge weight off my shoulders. And she was a 13-year-old. So I'm giving her some money to, go to Hollister or whatever it is that she does. But I also read, we don't do this, but I just read this somewhere else that someone made a business out of packing lunches for their neighbors' kids.
That is amazing.
Right? She apparently was excellent at it. She had a lot of kids like you do. And she had like an assembly line and her neighbors were like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, teach me how to do it. Teach me how to make it more efficient. And she started packing lunches and she delivered them every morning.
Oh my goodness. That is genius. You guys. And I know some of you are listening going, no one would ever pay me for that. That's ridiculous. Yes, they would. And it's not because I'm sitting here going, I can't pack lunches. I obviously can. I'm a grown woman. I can pack a lunch. I don't want to. Either I don't want to or I don't have enough time to do it well. And so we are happy to pay people because we're looking strategically going, what's the return on investment? So just like Melody said, my husband and I realized that like I could clean the house for 5 hours every 2 weeks. It would not be very well clean and I'd be ticked off, but I could do it, or I could pay housekeepers to do it and it would be done perfectly. I would be thrilled and I can make that amount of money I pay the housekeepers in way less than 5 hours. So there's tons of women and men, of course, who are being very strategic, looking at the return on investment. What can I do during the time that I'm saving by having this other person do it and make more money or enjoy my life more? So like we pay someone to drive our daughter to volleyball practice on Mondays because that's during the time that we have our Bible study at our house. And having Bible study and having that community every week is more important than the $15 or $20 we end up paying this person to drive Audrey to volleyball. So Now, those are things that you're kind of doing outside the home, but can be easily integrated if you have little kids at home. Like my babysitter, she brings her two boys with her to do all this stuff. They're always at our house. They are our kids' best friends. And so we've given her a job that she's able to do with her kids so she can stay at home with them. And she's earning money while doing it. Now that works really well for us. We're super laid back people. We parent similarly. So we like, it's not going to work for everyone. But if you're like, I love having kids around, you could babysit kids after school. Kids get off of the bus at school, they stay at your house for 3 hours and parents pick them up when they're done with school. Or, you could do, you could even do like mothers helpers things that you were talking about, Melody, during the summer. You could say, I'm going to run a camp, use that word loosely, at my house for 1 week. So for 5 mornings, a mom can drop her kids off at 9 a.m., pick them up at 12. And for only this 1 week, I'm going to watch them do fun activities with them during those 3 hours. And that mom gets to go shopping. She gets to run errands. She gets to do the things that are more efficiently done when her kids aren't with her.
Oh my gosh, Angela, if you have friends, if anybody out there has friends that do what we do and work from home, pitch to them. Yes. During the summer, oh my gosh, come to them with the service and say, I'm willing to take your kids 3 hours every Monday, or let's do a camp for a week in July or some. Oh my gosh, because we put our kids in a lot of camps that we look at how much they cost versus what I can make, because I want them to have fun. I don't want them to also be sitting around watching cartoons all day. Oh my gosh, that's a brilliant business idea. Well done.
Yeah. You guys, there's so many things you can, and it doesn't have to be like, I don't want to babysit someone's kid every day during the summer. Well, don't. Just do a couple of little camps, like a mom's morning out or something. I would pay for my kids to do that. Absolutely. If I know that they're out there having fun, and it's someone that I trust, and they're not just looking at a screen all morning, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I honestly, like, here's another idea. And this is the beauty of Facebook, is that you can say, hey, I'm willing to do this for you, and just put it out there and see what happens. Women love to help each other. So even if I don't need someone to watch my kids in the summer during that 1 week, I'm going to share that post. I'm going to say, oh, I have a friend who would love this. We're willing to share ideas that are not multi-level marketing. Okay. That's the honest to goodness truth. Let's say you have like a 3 or a 4-year-old at home with you, the other kids are in school or something like that, and you don't hate laundry, I would pay someone. I already have someone to do this, but if I didn't, I would pay someone and be totally fine with you coming to my house with your 3 or 4-year-old, and they get to watch TV or play with some toys in the living room while you fold my laundry. Like, I wash everything, dry everything, because I can do that. It's the folding and putting in the right basket that pushes me over the edge. I'd pay you $15 an hour to do that. And your kid gets to hang out with you and maybe help you or play. Now, obviously, if your kids are out of control and you have like 4 of them and they're going to trash my house, that's not going to work. But that's something that you could easily do. Here's another example. I had a sweet girl that's turned out to be my friend. And she came to me and she's like, I think I want to do direct sales. I want to start a business because I want to earn money from home. So we talked about it and I was like, well, tell me about you. And she's like, I kind of have some social anxiety. Like, I'm nervous around people. And I was like, oh, you should not sell things because it's not going to work for you. It doesn't work for your personality. I said, but what are you good at? She's like, oh, I love spreadsheets. I love that. You guys, I got her a job. I didn't hook her up. I was like, I am going to tell my friend about you who runs the Pinterest marketing company. And I was like, I want you to email Kate and tell her what you're good at. And my friend emailed, and she wrote the most professional email. She referred to her as her last name, Ms. All, and told her all the things that she was good at, things that she was willing to learn. Kate hired her, and she's turned out to be one of the very most valuable resources to Kate. Kate loves her. My friend loves working there. It's a perfect fit. So, and what that was is just connecting and her saying to me, do you have any ideas of what I could do? There you go. All right. I think I got through these things. Let's talk about people's ideas. So Karen has a question. Can you hear me, Melody?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. You're just so good at being quiet with your cat. Karen says she's looking for work from home ideas for elderly retired people. So do you have any ideas for that? Like, I would think like, Karen, could you go to someone's house? Like, are you able to drive? Maybe you could start a business where you check in on people's pets. I don't know. I think there's professionals out there who like really love their animals, and they're looking for someone to come over and, check their pet's food. They want them to walk their pet or just cuddle with their pet or something. That was one idea. Karen, if you're a good writer, there's lots of open doors there. Like we were talking earlier about, or someone was talking about, being an editor. Like you can put out there that you provide editing services, so that if someone's writing a book, and it's not even like a traditionally published book, like I'm writing an ebook and I want someone to go through there and edit for typos and grammar problems and just making me sound smarter. You could monetize that easily. You could become an expert at editing ebooks. Another business idea is if you're a good writer and you have kind of some topics, some areas of expertise, you could write ebooks and publish them. Oh, I like it, Lucy. You're so good at that. And publish them not in book form, but as an ebook, and sell them on Amazon. There's people who make lots of money selling ebooks on Amazon. So that's not working for someone, that's working for yourself. Is it itchy again? And so like, if you're interested in working for bloggers or people who write online, you might want to start like a LinkedIn profile. You can go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr, and you can put your services on there. Do I have a piece of paper? I have lots of pieces of paper. Those are some ideas.
Bronwyn's question on, so she's talking about finding a reliable source for proofreading or being an editor. Her question at the end is interesting. A place to advertise the service to bloggers. Do you have any suggestions for that?
There are Facebook groups is going to be really helpful too. There are Facebook groups out there that usually they're called like VA help. Because what you're looking for is you want to be a virtual assistant. That's going to be your buzzword, is I want to be a virtual assistant that provides editing services to bloggers and ebook writers and anyone published, internet publishers, online marketers, that type of thing. So those are some of the buzzwords. You're looking for a VA job, virtual assistant, there's Facebook groups out there and you can just search VA group. And some of them are going to be scammy and pointless, but like I'm in a couple that are like, you can find people in there. So there are people who are looking for VAs and people who are looking for VA work. So, so you could go in there and say, someone could ask, like, I'm looking for a proofreader, and you could be like, oh, I'm a proofreader. This is what I charge, and this is what I can do for you. Or you could go in there and advertise your services. So I would say that if you want to offer some sort of a VA service, and you're not to the point, which I don't think you should be, to like have your own website to advertise that, I would start a Facebook page that's well designed. And all that means is like you get a stock photo of a typewriter or something to go at the top. And then you outline your services on that Facebook page so that then you can tag yourself as you're talking about your services. So I find when I'm looking for someone to help me, I want to go to I want to go to a page that explains who you are, what you do, and how you can help me before I contact you. So that's what I say. And a lot of communication when it comes to VA stuff is done over Facebook Messenger. So you could say like, message me for my rates or something. That would be fine as well. But just know that if you're going to, you want to work on the internet, messaging on Facebook is going to happen a lot. So like I would have Facebook Messenger on your phone so that you can reply to people if you want to be really serious with this. So that is one of the downfalls of providing services online, is that it is very helpful to have a smartphone that has Facebook and your Gmail app and Facebook Messenger so that you can communicate with people quickly. Because when I'm looking for someone to make Pinterest images for me, Like I'm throwing out that as an example. I don't want to wait 24 hours when I'm looking for someone because I need it done now. And if someone is messaging me immediately, then she's probably going to get the job.
Anon 2268. I love this. It's not especially nice to say, hey, I've seen a lot of mistakes in your blog posts. You could use my help. I love that. So, but here's my suggestion is if you do see a mistake that you think is super important, it is Bronwyn. If you see something in the title or something that it really jumps out at you that's a mistake, you could send a nice email and just say, hey, like I just noticed, I thought you'd want to know. And if they respond back and say thanks, you could say, I love proofreading. That's one of the things I love. Don't push your services. This is not necessarily how you're going to get a job, but they might remember you in the future. If say 6 months from now, they're getting a lot of people saying, hey, there's typos. They might say, oh, I remember that. I remember Bronwyn. And, go back and search for the email. So you never know. You can be nice about it, but yes, agreed. Don't come in and say your blog posts look like garbage.
Yeah, I'm not going to be interested in talking to you. Because people complain. Online business owners, people who, they write emails, they have blog stuff. We get horrible people all the time. A tree. And so if you can come at it very professionally and with empathy, oh, I know this is so hard. And I know that you guys write and publish things so quickly that you don't catch things. I totally get it. I do this all the time. Then that makes me like you. But if you're going to type to me in all caps, I'm deleting that email.
Okay. Have you read the question? So from Jennifer, I currently run a seasonally and extremely busy Etsy shop. I would like to do something that doesn't require too much extra work once it's up and running, something digital that wouldn't be product-based or require me to put forth extra effort or shut it down during my busy Etsy seasons. Okay, so what I'm guessing is it's maybe over the holiday season that's super, super busy, and then the rest of the year it's pretty slow.
What I would suggest a lot of times we can make extra money when we think outside the box. So I don't know, Jennifer, what you're making, but let's say you are making wallets and you're making pretty good money at it, but it is a labor intensive thing. What if you added to your Etsy store a pattern so that someone could make their own wallet? Or you could sell, and I don't know if you'd be able to link to it on Etsy so that because you're already getting the traffic there, but maybe you could sell like a $17 video workshop, kind of similar to what we're doing right now, but people pay for it to get access to it, where they could watch this workshop and learn how to make the wallet themselves. That's an idea. And that's something that is you're front loading the work, but then you can continue to make, and you're continuing to make income off of it. You're not going to make thousands, but it does take the person who's interested in that product, and either it costs too much for them or they go, I could make that myself. And you're like, yes, you could here. And you could let me help you make it yourself. And then you're still going to make money off of it. You're still going to make money off of that person. And don't be worried that if I teach people how to make it, then no one will want to make the wallet themselves. Yes. Because if I like your wallet, I'm not going to make it myself. You're talking to two different audiences. So don't be afraid that if you teach someone how to do the thing you're awesome at, that then they'll never hire you to do the awesome thing. There's plenty of women out there who are not interested in learning how to do it themselves. They just want someone to do it for them. But what you're doing is you're not losing out on potential income from someone who goes, oh, I could figure that out myself. You're like, great, here, let me help you do that. I don't know if that's helpful for you at all, Jennifer.
Another idea in there would be, and I'm not sure, Jennifer, if you only have an Etsy site, but to possibly start a simple blog. You could do some kind of gift guides, or you could do a tutorial on your website, and then you could get it on Pinterest with affiliate links to, materials that you use on Amazon. And that's something that could be, not earning a huge amount of money, but earning throughout the year that you wouldn't have to do a ton of work on.
Someone said, when I had Messenger on my phone, I was bombarded with tons of Facebook messages and you turned it off within minutes. Any way to get around that? No. There's not. I mean, what I would say is like when I get a Facebook message on my phone, it comes up, and if I, I don't have to answer it. But if I see that it's a potential client, I'm gonna answer it. But what I will say is that like if you get on your computer to check Facebook Messenger like once a day or once every other day, and I messaged you 36 hours ago about something, I've moved on to someone else. So that's like one of the annoyances that you put up with in order to make money. So like I don't love that I'm getting Facebook Messenger, but I do know that there's 50% of the messages that I get, it's helpful for me to be able to answer quickly. And that doesn't mean that you have to have everything on your phone and respond to everyone immediately. But that does mean if you are going to use Facebook to advertise your business, you should be available on Facebook fairly often. So, like, I don't check Instagram because I'm not on Instagram. That doesn't mean you have to be everywhere all the time, but you choose one or two things. Just a second. You choose one or two platforms that you're going to be heavily involved in to advertise your business and to communicate with clients and to be available. And then you do put up with the annoyance of that.
I have another thought here. So we're talking about virtual assistant. You talked about your friend that does spreadsheets. Sorry, there's my cat.
Well, sorry, there's my kid.
A lot of times, small business owners do not know what they need. So if they have started a business and it's starting to scale and they're not entirely sure how to do finances or spreadsheets or hire another employee, or I mean, there's just so many things. Do graphic design, like you mentioned, social media. A lot of times they just don't know. They're bogged down in the details and they just don't know. So if you have something that you are good at, or you have a friend that has a small business, you can pitch yourself to them, and it doesn't have to be in a like, please hire me kind of way. It's just, hey, like I have some suggestions for your business, or have you ever thought about this? And they might, like your friend with the spreadsheets, I bet that Kate wasn't even thinking, I need somebody for this. Just you offer your services, you say what you're good at. That's a perfect fit for my business.
Yeah. And I think that like a lot of things, make a bunny. A lot of things that you could do, like if you wanted to become a social media manager, you're like, well, I think I could do that. By the way, if you're going to be a social media manager, you have to be able to write well. You have to be able to write well without grammatical mistakes. You have to know how to use your punctuation. You have to know how to use your capitalization. Like you have to be good at that. Doesn't mean you have to be an expert, but you have to be able to write a sentence correctly. I had someone doing my social media, doing Facebook for me, and she wasn't very aware of it. It drove me nuts. She stopped. I had to take her off of that because that was not her forte. Then Melody comes along and I trust that she knows she has a command of the English language. So like that's really important. But if you want to become a social media manager, and you become an expert on Facebook pages, Facebook groups, Facebook marketing, all that kind of stuff, there are so many small business owners out there who have no idea what they're doing with Facebook. And I'm not talking about online people. I'm talking about someone who owns a plumbing business and someone who is a tutor and I don't know, whatever business that's out there who would be thrilled to pay you $200 a month, $400 a month, whatever it might be. I have no idea what people pay to manage their Facebook page and try to grow their audience and their client base from Facebook because they hear that Facebook's where people are at. And they're like, I have no idea how to do that. And they'd be super willing to pay someone to manage that for them.
When you could even offer to have like a beta client or two, say, yes. Go to the local business and say, hey, like, let's trade off. Like I'll do 50% of what I would ask anybody else. Let me try it. Let me see what we're doing, see how it goes, get feedback from them. You can give feedback to them. You can see how the business works. You don't have to necessarily go out and say, I'm going to ask, $600 a month for my social media services when you don't have anything to back it up.
And what you could easily say is go on Facebook. I mean, Facebook has made it so much easier to find clients and to like grow your business. You just go on there and say, I would like to experiment and learn how to do Facebook page management. Does anyone know of a small business owner who's not doing anything on Facebook and would be willing to let me like learn how to do it? And there's I mean, some guy owning a plumbing business would be like, go for it. And you would go to him and say, like, here's some, and I'll do it for, like, say, you want to do this for free, you want to experiment, go for it. So you're going to start out by doing it for free and say, like, I have a, amount of time that you're going to do it. I'm going to do it for 3 months. This is what you can expect from me. And then I would like think of any fears that he might have. So like, I'm only going to post appropriate content. I'm not going to be sarcastic. I will answer when people ask a question or ask a question by Facebook Messenger. I will reply to them within this many hours. Because that's another part of running a Facebook page is that people will message you on your Facebook page, not your personal profile, and you need to be able to answer that. So that's another reason why if you want to you want to be a social media manager, you need to have it on your phone so you can reply to people quickly. But like Anon 4080 is saying, a lot of times business owners just don't know what people are willing to do, that there's people are willing to do these really small little projects and they don't know how to find them. So the more that you can say, like I wrote down, I don't think I said earlier, like if you go to someone and say, I'm willing to do anything for you, like you come to me as a small business owner online and you say, like, I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do. What that says to me is you're not an expert at anything. And that means I'm going to have to train you. I'm going to have to figure out what you can do and can't do. That's too much work. But if you come to me and say, you know what I'm really good at is making Pinterest images. That keeps coming to mind. Sorry. Or what I'm really good at is finding you local businesses that are willing to that would like to advertise on your website. Like if you're really specific with me and you say like, I know how to do this, then I'd be like, let's do it. Because you just told me, you just identified a need that I didn't know I had. Don't put the responsibility on me to figure out what I need help with.
Okay, and to that point, know your limitations.
Yeah.
So I work for several different, I have 3, several.
You're so important.
But I know a lot of things across the internet domain, right? Like I know how to do email marketing. I know how to do social media. I know how to write blog posts, but I don't do all of those things for all the people I work for. And I know once my cost is set with that person, either flat rate or hourly, I need to like tie my hands behind my back and say either I don't know how to do that if you're asking me to do something different, or I don't have enough time. So just because you're trying to make right, or I don't want to, or I wouldn't be great at it, somebody else would be great at that. Just because you're trying to bring in extra money, do not take on all the things because you're going to burn out, or you need to under promise and over deliver. So don't take on so many things that you cannot deliver the bare minimum of what you offered.
Yes. And I think that those resources inside the Ultimate Homemaking Bundle, we said earlier, like, don't spend a lot of money. I think that's $30 well spent to go in there and see what the possibilities are. Take some of the trainings, go through some of the courses. If you're interested in social media management, there's a course in there. $30, you can figure out if you can do it or not. If you want to be a virtual assistant, go in there, spend $30, take a couple of the courses, and read some of those books and go like, oh, I can do this, or I can't do this. So this is a great opportunity to kind of explore some topics on how you can make money from home without a huge investment. I don't want you to go take a $400 course on how to manage Facebook ads if you're not positive that that's what you want to do. I don't think it's a bad idea to spend $500 on a course, an online course to learn how to run Facebook ads. If you know that that's what you want to do and you need that information, use this. If you're going to use that information to make more money, do whatever you want. So, and again, I've been very cautious. I'm very cautious about people putting out money before they have tested the market to see if they can get that investment back. And so, but I think things that are under $100 you want to gamble with, like with this Ultimate Homemaking Bundle and the 10 resources that are in there for, working from home. I think that's a good gamble to take. And I was actually pretty impressed with all the things that were in there. Are there any other things that you guys would like some suggestions on how to make money? I'm just going to flip through here. I mean, we're much longer than I thought we were going to be, but you put me and Melody together and we can talk.
I can talk about one of the other jobs that I've had that just might be an inspiration to somebody else. So my husband and I got married 12 years ago. And the gal that worked for the place we got married at, she offered wedding coordinator services. And so we hired her to do our wedding, and she was just getting started. So she was fairly inexpensive. But 6 months down the road, she emailed me. We were not friends at this. I mean, we were friends through the wedding, but that was it. She emailed me and said that they were looking for help on the day of weddings. Like, I mean, I'm not even kidding you. I did every job under the sun, like anything to help that wedding go well. I helped manage the day. I helped make sure everything was running correctly, make sure the vendors were where they should be. I helped an aunt hook her bra on in the bathroom. It's just everything. But she emailed me because we got along pretty well, and I'd be working with her. And I worked maybe 6 days throughout the whole summer, and I could pick and choose. I would work all day on a Saturday, all day on a Sunday. But those are just options that come up. I mean, if that's something that you love and you're good at, and you want to be an event planner, maybe down the road, you could talk to event places in your local area and ask them if they just need help on the day. It doesn't have to be a full-time position, even a part-time position.
And I think that illustrates as well one other thing that I don't think I said super clearly at the beginning. And that is, if you're going to do something like this, you have to treat it like it's a real business or like a real job. Because you oftentimes, especially those of us who are at home with little kids, or we're at home, we're retired, or we can't work because we have some physical limitations, we see the jobs that we have, our businesses as we run, really as hobbies, and they're optional. But there's nothing more irritating than when I hire someone to do something and then they tell me an hour ahead of time before they're going to show up. They're like, I forgot that my kid had a game today, so I can't come. Something like that. Like, you've got to really, like, that woman, like Melody's job that she was talking about, she couldn't have called the morning of to say, my kid's sick, I can't show up. What you have, and obviously if your kid's sick, you can't leave them at home, but that's why you need buy-in from everyone in the family, so that if your kid's sick on a day, is your husband going to be willing to stay home from work, or can you guys quickly rearrange your schedule? Like, what type of support do you have in being successful? I didn't say that super well, but there has to be buy-in from everyone to make this work so that you are as dependable as possible. Now, my babysitter will call me sometimes in the morning and like, my kid's throwing up, I can't show up. And I understand that because that's the arrangement that we have. But you have to, if that's going to be the limitation you have to work for someone or work with someone who's very understanding of that. So like, I have a fairly flexible job and my husband works from home as well. So we can scramble and accommodate for that. But if we were in a different position, like, or a different like lifestyle with our work, we would need more dependability.
Well, essentially, I think what you're saying is that it can't be a house of cards. So you can't say, I'm going to be on this webinar at 10 a.m. and hope that my kids, my 2-year-old is willing to sit and watch a movie for an hour and a half. They're treating it like a business is either having a babysitter or only saying that you're going to do things when your spouse is home, or, make sure you have the backup as your kid is in the webinar with us.
I know. And that kind of also illustrates that, like, my job, what I do, the people who are watching me, you guys are watching a free workshop and you know that I have kids. And so you find it endearing that she's showing up in a workshop. And she's telling me just to be a little bit quieter so she can watch her YouTube video. And you guys are okay with that because you didn't pay anything to be here and you think it's cute. And you're like, oh, this makes me like Melody and Angela a little bit more. There's a kid, there's a cat. But let's say you were paying $1,000 to take a course from me and Melody about how to be a social media manager. You would be super irritated if a 5-year-old showed up. You'd be like, I'm paying good money right now. I need this to be professional. I need it to be about me. So it's just something to keep in mind. So like if I'm hiring someone to fold my laundry, I'm totally fine with their kids showing up at my house as long as you clean up after them. If I'm hiring you to go to businesses and try to drum up business for me, and you show up with your 4 kids and that you decided that they were going to skip homeschool that day, that's not going to work for me. So there you go. Vanessa, you're a former nurse. What can you do from home with your medical expertise? Girl, there are so many things that you can do as a nurse. I actually did some research, and I will email you guys with some of these ideas because we're not going to get to them, but things that you can do that aren't necessarily from home, but you can do as a side hustle. There are a number of insurance companies that I found, like I think Aetna and something Humira. One of those is a drug and one of is an insurance company, but they hire nurses to, I think, like evaluate records. I actually found them. I found the links to them, Vanessa. And so I would like maybe Google work from home nurse and see the options that you have out there. You could do, I know that there's people who do on call, like people call an advice nurse, and you could be that person. So there's a lot of work with insurance companies that you probably haven't really thought of that sounds like there's really flexible hours. So as I was looking at things, as I was at my son's, my boy's football's practice, I was scrolling through my phone looking for ideas for at work home jobs. And there's a lot. I was like, wow, if you were a nurse, this is weird that I just thought this yesterday. If you're a nurse, you can make cash at home. Oh, that's another thing is that, when you apply for life insurance, a nurse always comes to your home before they approve you to do like a really simple exam. So they like what this person is saying, blood pressure, weight, blood and urine samples, that type of things. And then you show up at someone's house, it takes you 30 minutes and then you leave. So that would be something that you could do as well. It's not work from home, but it's definitely a flexible schedule and that's what a lot of you are looking for is like, I want to use my expertise to make money, but I don't want to work in an office. I don't want to work 9 to 5. I want to work while my kids are at school. And then I want to be able to take them to school and then pick them up, and I want to make money in between. Those are some good options. Oh yeah, I'm being told to be a little bit quieter. So I think that we have hit it out of the park, Melody, especially when it comes to time. So you guys look for an email from me later tonight. We'll have the replay on this if you want to share it with friends that are interested in earning money from home or getting a side hustle or something. And I will also list all the different things that I found that I thought were legit, where it's not like you have to pay money in order to learn, in order to get the job. We steer clear of those, but there's legitimate places that are hiring either employees or contractors that you can fit into a schedule. And just know that like the more limitations that you have, like you have to be at home, like you have little kids, you are disabled, you take care of someone, a disabled person at home, the more that you are limited at home with what you can do physically and also with your time, your options are going to shrink. So, and that's kind of the unfortunate part, but there are options out there, especially if you can commit to being really dependable and becoming an expert in a certain topic or field, software, something like that. There are opportunities for you to make money. So make sure that you, I'm also willing to like answer questions that you have by email. So you can just reply to the email that I send out later this afternoon. And I will try to help you. That doesn't mean that I'm going to help you find a job. Don't say like, can you find me someone who's needs a video editor? No, I don't have time for that. But, I might be able to point you in some directions or give you some inspiration, but it's going to require some Googling on your part. Do you have any last thoughts, Melody?
One of the things I wanted to say was appreciate the fact that whatever season you're in right now, what you can do in that season. So if your kids are super young, you're not going to be out of the house too much. You might be able to start really, really small. I actually started working for Angela when my kids were tiny, and my job responsibilities have increased as my kids have gone to school full time. So there's always the opportunity that it could grow for you. So if you start now in a couple hours a week, even there's the potential just to get your foot in the door that it will grow down the road. My last thought I want to tell people is to know your worth. Okay. It's taken me a really long time to learn this, especially as a woman, I think, but, don't take don't take the first offer. Don't shoot low. Okay. Know the worth of your time. Okay? Negotiate a little bit. So, your expertise is worth something to someone. Okay. Know your value. Do not take just whatever anybody's willing to offer you.
That's don't say just because like I'm only a stay-at-home mom. Don't let someone pay you as a stay-at-home mom, but also understand at the beginning, you're going to have to hustle. And if you want to start your own business, especially, or you want to be a contractor or a freelancer, there is going to be you not making a whole lot of money to try to get clients and to get the experience that you're looking for. But just know that you have to be willing to raise your rates. So then if you're going to do like a beta is like an experiment. If you're going to go to a small business owner and say, can I experiment with your small business? I'll do it for free. What I would always add to that is, and please don't tell anyone that I'm doing this for you. I mean, meaning that like, please don't tell anyone that I do this for free, because the purpose of me doing this for free or doing it at a deeply discounted rate is so that I can learn things. And so I do expect feedback from you, those types of things. So you don't want that plumber to go tell all of his buddies, his contracting buddies, that this girl will, do your Facebook page for free, or she'll do it for like $50 a month. No. So just be very clear up front that like, if you're going to share my services with someone, please don't tell them how much I'm charging you, because I'm building a business just like you are. And I need to have the freedom to charge more in the future. So I would just like put that out there so that people aren't, broadcasting how cheap you are. All right. I'm good. All right, guys. Be looking for that email from me later today. And thanks for joining us.